Perfect. So the body code is an energy healing technique designed by Dr. Bradley Nelson. And so what we're going to be doing during the session, we're going to be using kinesiology to connect with your subconscious to pinpoint imbalances and energies that need clearing, as well as maybe toxins. Your body can do it out, and say vitamins and minerals that may be needed. And I'll just type up the session as we go, so you don't need to take notes, and I'll email it on to you afterwards. Yeah.
Lovely, thank you. You're more organized than me.
So we'll just start off the session by having like an introduction, just saying like, any symptoms you're having or anything that you want to, focus on, and as well the body code is very non-invasive. So if there's, anything that as we pinpoint things, sometimes it'll ask us for more information. But you don't have to specifically talk about things if you don't want to.
Okay.
Yeah, so if there's anything that's bothering you at the moment that
I have a lot of health ailments, unfortunately. I struggle with a lot of pain and some mobility, balance and things like that, and yeah, mainly pain. I have emphysema, asthma, allergies, arthritis, osteoarthritis, osteoporosis, fibromyalgia, brainstem migraines, bursitis, lots of problems. I've tried.
How long have you had fibromyalgia for?
As long as I can, as long as I know. It took decades to get it diagnosed because they kept us saying it's just chronic pain, just chronic pain. They weren't adding all the other symptoms. They were saying they were different disorders. They weren't putting them all together and saying, fibro.
And if you were to put like, is it 10 years? Is it 20 years it's been bothering you?
I'd say a good 20, 30 years, yeah.
Up to 30 years.
Yeah.
What age were you roughly when it started for you?
I was first diagnosed with chronic pain at 28. I'm now 55. So, yeah, quite some time.
And has it varied, has it gotten better and worse in that time, or what's?
Recently, it has, the last couple of years, it's been a little worse, but I think that's because I've come off a lot of I was on 32 pills a day, including all the pain meds prior to COVID, and I decided something in my head said, you've got to get off this lot and you've got to sort your life out. You've got to get better, as better as you can, to cope, because I just felt like I was slowly slipping away. All the meds, and I was constantly bedridden, and I was constantly having falls, and I put a lot of that down to the strong meds causing me to be drowsy and less stable, and I've not had any falls, well, very little falls since then, and I'm down to 5 meds a day, so I've taken the last 3 years to decrease all of those. A lot of the side effects, funnily enough, fell away, which is amazing. And a lot of some of the symptoms and that have become less, but others, like the pain, has become, although it's managed, I'm not popping pills all day. I refuse to, because of the other implications it has on my bowel, on my balance, so I don't want to be popping pills all day.
And in long term, it's very hard on the stomach lining and everything.
Yeah.
It's the toxicity. I mean,
I'm
it leads to
taking
more illness.
so many different vitamins and minerals to help rebalance my stomach, and my health, basically. So I'm trying to do everything that I can, to alleviate a lot of the symptoms and problems, but it's not always possible.
And the emphysema, that's is that with the lungs or is that the skin?
That's the lungs,
That's the
emphysema. I
lungs. And
have
how
psoriasis and that as
badly
well, eczema. Yeah.
and how badly are your lungs affected?
Um, I'm I'm in control of that now. It's all managed and managed quite well. The asthma, the emphysema is all managed very well at the moment. I've not had any exasperations or asthma attacks in over 3 years. So whatever I'm
Since you
doing,
reduced the
I'm doing really
medication.
well. Yeah, yeah. I've even reduced the breathing meds.
I'm guessing that you would have made some dietary changes and improved your diet to be more healing when the asthma went.
Yeah.
I do think the diet's a bigger part of asthma.
Oh yeah, a lot, a lot. I was having asthma attacks maybe once a month, once every 2 months, and I was having exasperations with emphysema at least once a month. So I was constantly in and out of hospital. I was always recovering from a lung infection. So I weren't living.
The infections are just the body's way of detoxing.
Mm,
The body just does that to try and remove toxins to get the body to work harder to clear everything out.
mm.
Is there anything else in regard to like the fibromyalgia? Is there anything else like autoimmune related that's affecting you?
Yeah, psoriasis. Yeah, but it's not as bad as it used to be. I'm only getting it in smaller places, like just the elbows, lower back, bits and bobs on the face. I'm not getting it everywhere like I was previously.
Is there anything else you want to add before we start the session?
Cataracts. I think I've mentioned everything else. I did have, for over 20 years, heavy metal poisoning and thrombocytosis. But when I questioned it deeply and asked for a heavy metal test, all of a sudden I was cured. All of a sudden I don't need transfusions anymore. I don't need medication anymore because I questioned the narrative.
Uh, how much heavy metal poisoning or how how much
I
how
feel
much did you have like a lot of exposure to like heavy metal poisoning or
I think a lot of it is within the medications and the compounds to make them up. I think also as a child growing up for 30 years on the back of the railway, the coal railway, didn't help. And silly things like as a kid eating the paint off the windows, not knowing or being told that it's actually full of lead and dangerous. Simple things. Uh, an accident where someone put a pencil.
DDT in the old paints too, is there?
Yeah, yeah. A lead pencil went straight in through my nose and broke off. It couldn't all be removed. Simple little things that made me think. I don't know what caused it, but I saw a life coach who done a load of bloods at the beginning of COVID and diagnosed heavy metal poisoning and said it's looking back on your bloods, it's been there a good 20 years. It just hasn't been identified.
Yeah.
And when I questioned the haematology clinic, they kept putting it off. Well, we will do a heavy metal test. We'll do it next month. We'll do it next month. But wanted me to have all these meds and bone marrow biopsies and and blood transfusions and iron transfusions, but weren't prepared to do the one heavy metal test. And then 6 months later, when they did it, oh no, you don't have it. Well, I won't now because I've done 2 years of chelating. So of course I won't have
I
it now.
I do think you still may have some level of heavy metal toxicity if
I'm
you're
still
having the
doing the
fibromyalgia and the
chelating.
symptoms. There could be a correlation. Um,
Yeah.
so we'll just take a moment's silence before we start the session.
Okay.
Um, and we'll just ask, is there anything, linked to your fibromyalgia? So on the left, pathogens, physical pathogens, parasites. So I'm getting parasites as an association with the fibromyalgia. Um, is there an association with the parasites? There is on the left, energy, circuits and systems, toxins. On the left, heavy metals. Mercury. So I'm getting Mercury as an association with the parasites. So I think it's extremely common with most of the really bad, autoimmune conditions that parasites are present. And I remember there was a woman I know she was seeing specialist doctors in Germany for Lyme disease, and all of the protocols they were giving her were very similar to, just parasite killing protocols.
Mm.
And do your symptoms get worse if you've a lot of sugar?
Sometimes, yes.
And that's a correlation to feeding the parasites.
Mm. The problem is I have an awful lot of fruit. I
Yeah,
get the natural sugars, but I do consume, I'd say about, well, it's probably 50-50. My diet is fruit.
it's probably not doing you any good
Right.
because that's just sugar, really, isn't it? I know it's
Yeah.
natural sugars, but it is still just sugar. It would be interesting to see if you kind of completely tip the balance of like sugars and carbohydrates to just really fat and protein, and see how much that would, help to, because then you're not feeding the parasites.
Mm.
And when you're not feeding the parasites, it can bring up some of the symptoms with the parasite. But, uh, but, sorry. Um, yeah, sorry. Sorry. Just plugged in the laptop. But when you're not feeding the parasites, it can bring up some of the symptoms from them.
Right.
You know, um, so it can be something you want to do quite steadily. But you do see when you eat sugary things, the symptoms always get worse or heightened. Is there a correlation with that?
I think it's hard to say. I mean, I know if I have too much, I've cut out puddings and things because I've noticed the pain does seem to get worse. But I don't have breakfast. I have a shake, a berry shake, and that's to me is meant to be healthy. Um,
Probably, probably not the best with, the in relation to the parasites, because the sugars are what's going to feed them.
hmm.
I'd say if you had garlic first thing, because that's a parasite killing
I,
thing.
I do. I freeze it up. I have garlic. What's it? Garlic, lemon, and ginger with olive oil in a cube in hot water every morning, prior to my shake, and I take.
I think it's a
Uh,
lot more powerful if it's raw. If
it
you've
is.
it diced up raw, and you can add honey to it, because the honey would actually bring
It
up the
is raw.
parasites with it, and it would help to target them. Is a very simple way of, simple parasite killing
Yeah,
protocol.
it is raw. It's made up in advance each month and frozen into ice
Yeah.
cubes, and I just pour a tiny bit of hot water on it, and then
Ah.
I just mix that back. But it is raw.
Oh,
I also take colloidal silver because I was told that helps with parasites
good,
every
good,
morning,
good. Um,
and iodine. I take that in my water as well.
good, 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 great, great.
I use
Uh,
the Terra wand on my water.
good, good, great. Um,
Everything I can think of.
I would think it would be interesting though to try, switching, the diet to less carbohydrates and really up the protein and fats.
Mm.
Because then you're creating an environment in your body where you're starving the parasites further. Um,
I'm going to write that down because I won't remember otherwise. Protein and fats.
and ivermectin is another, parasite killing protocol.
Mm.
But there's a lot, and it could be good to even, seek out a doctor, a specialist who specializes in the parasite killing protocols.
Yeah.
So just ask, is there an association with the mercury? There is. So on the left, pathogen, misalignment, nutrition and lifestyle. On the left, outside needs, physical needs, detoxification, fire infrared sauna. So I'm getting fire infrared sauna for detoxification for the mercury. Would you have ever done fire infrared sauna when you were doing the mercury detox?
Never heard of that.
Sauna?
Sauna. I've heard of saunas. Yeah.
Would you have saunaed much?
No.
So it's a specific type of sauna where it's a dry heat and it's like a fire infrared energy. And you don't need it as hot. Like we've one that, and it just goes up to 60 degrees where, like the wet sauna can go well over 100, 110, 120. Whereas this is, a lot less heat and you can get a lot deeper sweat. So it's a bit gentler, and it's a great way of just, helping to, really accelerate the lymphatic system and, get all of the detoxification, body systems functioning more optimally. It's a great way of getting rid of the heavy metals.
How comes there's still mercury there then if I've been doing the chelating for the best part of 3 years?
So what's the chelating?
Patricia, could you pass up the bag, please? Meds. What I've been using is, hang on, I can tell you then. Where is it? Chlorella and that was just chlorella and spirulina. I was on, but why is it only chlorella this time? Chlorella and spirulina and NAC.
Yeah.
For the gut.
Good,
I was told to take that for the gut. And with that, I'm taking
zeolite in there too.
Zeolite as well.
Good.
And what's the other powder in the morning? In the thing, the other powder is
the one we use in the morning.
Yeah, it's called essential amino acids, chia seeds, and
essential amino acids.
Yes. And Nigella seeds. Yeah.
It's good. That's all really good stuff. And does it help to reduce your symptoms?
It has done, yeah, a lot. I think that's what I think putting all that into place 3 years ago is what's allowed me to come off a lot of the meds and to kind of, I say, regain my life. I'm able to get out of bed. I'm able to get about. I'm not as clumsy. I'm not having as many falls. I'm not having the fluid come up on my skull as much. I'm not having as many breathing problems. I'm not, I'm still in pain, but it's not as bad and as long term.
Yeah. But they're all really good detoxification protocols. Are you drinking enough water at the moment, though?
I drink 2-3 liters every day, and I charge with the iTerra wand.
And is the water filtered?
Yeah.
Good.
It's filtered first, and then it's done with a iTerra wand.
And then is the filter taking out heavy metals?
I believe so.
Is it like a hard-fitted filter under your sink?
No, it's a water purifier.
Is there like a sponge in it that's absorbing the metals?
A special cartridge that does metals and toxins and all that you have to change monthly.
Good, great. Yeah, I think everything you're doing with that is excellent, and it's all, it's all part of the process with detoxing these heavy metals. So that's excellent. But I do think the far infrared sauning is something that's really good to throw in. Do you know, that's a really, really powerful thing to have in there too, and it would really help to accelerate everything you're doing so much.
What's fire thread? What's it called? Fire thread sauna?
Fire infrared. I'll send it to you afterwards.
Infrared, okay.
So it's like the infrared light, but it's, just that energy in a sauna, so it's a dry sweat.
Okay.
And it gives you very, very, very intense sweat for, and it would just really accelerate the release, and you'd get a lot more benefit from everything you're taking. It would help those things to bind more. And I think if you do a few more specific things to help with, the parasites, it should help with, the two will go hand in hand to really help each other.
Okay.
So can we clear the energy with the mercury? We can. And can we clear the energy with the parasites? We can. I still think, though, it's important to, do all of the lifestyle changes, keep doing everything you're doing with, the spirulina, the zeolite, and throwing the far infrared sauning, and try doing some dietary changes, maybe. I think, mixing up instead of going like with, fruits and sugars so much straight away, maybe have something like, eggs first thing. And trying, try and focus it more on, protein and fat. Because that doesn't feed parasites anything. Yeah. But just ask, is there anything else we can clear on the left? Pathogen, misalignment, nutrition and lifestyle. Left, nutrition, nutrients. Is there any nutrients you need on the left? Even row. So omega-3s come up in nutrients.
Omega-3, I take cod liver oil daily. And ginseng. I take a lot of supplements.
Is the cod liver oil good?
As far as I know. And evening primrose.
Yeah. I know the omegas have such a big knock-on effect. The omega-3 specifically has such a big knock-on effect with, circulation, blood to the brain, hormone production, and loads of things. So I'm just wondering.
Hormone production, that's a problem there. I've had a full hysterectomy at 28. And I don't take the HRT.
Well, that'll mean you'd want your omega-3 levels to be very good. I've a friend who's introduced me to this omega-3 company that do blood tests in one of the Scandinavian blood testing, which is like one of the best in the world for that. And it was interesting. My mother just got her results back, and she wasn't taking any fish oils, but she's recently started eating 4 eggs a day and eating a lot of fatty meat, and her levels were, basically as good as you can get. It was 3:1:1, and it's like if you've 2:1:1, my friend was saying it's impossible to develop cancer cells. Your hormone production would be like optimal. Or as good
That would be
as can get for that mineral balance, because we know that the vitamins and minerals have such a knock-on effect to allow and help the glands to produce hormones. So would you eat many eggs?
I probably eat 2 a week.
2 a week?
I find they bind up my bowels.
Do they? Okay.
Yeah.
What about
Which
sardines, that kind of food?
Yeah, but I have to fancy them, if you know what I mean. I could probably push and have them once a week, but if it's not something that I like, I don't tend to eat it as often. I used to eat a lot of sardines, but I think eating them so much now means that I kind of don't really enjoy them as much anymore.
Kind of the things every day that make the biggest difference.
Mm.
Do you know? So, I mean, you have to kind of find out what are going to be the protein and fat sources that you can get in daily to create a new dietary routine. And that'd probably be the most powerful thing for helping with the parasites and hopefully help with the symptoms. Yeah. What do you think that would be like? Breakfast and lunch would be that your two kind of.
I don't have lunch. I only have breakfast, and then I'll have an evening meal.
Yeah, but
what's ironic is it was the life coach that helped me come off all the meds that put me on the shakes.
Yeah.
That would be healthy for me, and that I needed the antioxidants and the fats in the Greek yogurt, and
I think the yogurt's good, yeah, because that's mainly fat. There's very little carbohydrates in that.
Yeah, it's all right.
All right, later.
But yeah, parasites are fed by sugars. Do you know? So I mean, you could be a very long time trying to kill the parasites if you're feeding them at the same time. So if they're continually fed and they're continually, going through their cycle, you could be talking years, longer to do the same thing with the same protocols with the, so I do think, sugar levels and, insulin sensitivity type foods and stuff like that, then you're going to be creating an environment where they're not fed.
Yeah. I do tend to eat chocolate and things in the evening. I try to keep it to dark and 85%, but it's not always possible.
But it would be worth seeing, if just getting the insulin sensitivity really high, avoiding, so that's, more along the lines of the ketogenic carnivore, but I'm not certainly not advising it completely.
How long do you think I should stay off the shakes for then? Because that's really is the only thing that I use in the morning to get my tablets down me and to get the zeolite in and all the amino acids and the chia seeds and the nigella seeds. I kind of use it to get that into me.
But you could do it without the sugary things, couldn't you?
I could. What you mean? Just have yogurt?
Well, I think it's worth looking at what's going to feed the parasites, figure out what that is. You could try just, listening to your body, and just try 3 to 5 days of, avoiding the things that feed the parasites.
So avoid the berries.
See your symptoms. Avoid anything sugar or carbohydrates, and just up your consumption of protein and fats. And try and eat well. Don't eat less, eat well. Try and even eat a bit more. Just just get more protein and fats in.
Right.
Certainly don't be restrictive.
I have a problem with that. It's my form of self-harm, is to self-starve, if I'm honest. It's a way of controlling my emotions.
Well, okay, so we'll just ask, is there any emotions linked to that?
I have complex post-traumatic stress disorder.
So it's taken us to post-traumatic, physical trauma, between 1 and 10. Physical trauma, age 6. So just ask, can we clear physical trauma, age 6? We can. We cleared it, we have. Is there anything else affecting the eating disorder and energy? On the left, allergy, emotional. Heart wall emotion. So it's taken us to common heart wall emotions. So the heart wall is like an invisible layer of trapped emotions, emotional baggage we put up around our heart to protect ourselves in times of emotional pain, which is useful at that time, but not useful afterwards, you know. So sit on the left, even row 1. And heartache, age 6. Do we need to know any more about heartache age 6? No. Can we clear it? We can. Is there anything else we can clear on the left, even row 1? And insecurity, age 6. Can we clear it? We can. Is there anything else we can clear on the left, even row 1, 3? And stubbornness, age 10. We need to know more about stubbornness, age 10. We do. Can you think of anything around that time?
Unfortunately, my childhood was full of a lot of physical and sexual abuse from an infant right up till 18. So age 10, I tried to commit suicide a few times because of what I was going through.
Sorry. Can we clear stubbornness? We can. Is there anything else we can clear on the left, even row 1, 3, 5? And creative insecurity, age 10.
I was forced to go and live with my father age 10 as well, which meant that the abuse continued a lot worse.
Clear creative insecurity, we can. What else we can clear on the left, even row 1, 3, 5. In conflict, age 10. Can we clear it? We can. We cleared the conflict we have. Is there anything else we can clear on the left, even row 1, 3, 5? and fear age 10. When we clear fear age 10, we can. Is there any more common heart wall emotions we can clear now? Is there any more heart wall emotions we can clear now? Is there anything else we can clear in energy? On the left, post-traumatic. On the left, physical trauma. Physical trauma, age 7. We clear it, we can. We cleared it, we have. Is there anything else left? Pathogen, misalignment, nutrition and lifestyle, outside needs, mental and emotional fitness, stress processing. So journaling's come up for stress processing.
I have tried journaling. I find it a bit difficult because it's going back into the past, and there's so much anger and pain. I find it between.
I think it's good to do specifically after these sessions as we release the emotions linked to what's come up. Because as we release the emotions, some memories that have been blocked out can come back to be processed, and it can be helpful to journal and write about the emotional the event and how you felt emotionally at that time, to get it out of the subconscious mind and to consciously process it to help it release.
I can try. I know I've buried a lot in order not to have to deal with it. I'm aware of that. I have hypnosis every week to try and help with the trauma, but I don't know. I'm not confident. I'm actually being honest enough, if you know what I mean. I'm trying to avoid it to save pain and to keep me sane.
Of course. The processing of clearing the heart wall emotions can bring up a lot of the stuff that's blocked out. And during the process of that happening, the journaling can be quite important and quite powerful to you know, get it processed. And it can be quite often the things that aren't processed and aren't consciously made aware of can be the things that are creating some of the symptoms, do you know?
I believe that 100%, to be honest, Simeon, because I've always thought that majority of my health issues are because of the trapped trauma and not knowing how to deal with it and how to release it and feeling unsafe doing it.
It's so you may feel quite tired and exhausted after the session, and I'll just ask, can we do the next session in 1 day, 2 days, 3 days? So the next session could be done in 3 days. So you may feel quite tired and exhausted over the next 3 days with the processing what's going on. But the journaling can be a good way of you know, stopping the mind going too much and helping to, you know, accelerate the processing.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm gonna finish the recording now.